thought you said it was if you won, and that's not 5 till yet.
Right up.
Oh.
11 now.
It's kind of silly. I mean, we would have been happy to
Tony?
sit here and play this whole time.
Will they cue us when we should start?
Oh,
Okay.
Well, good morning. My name is Connie Carter. I'm one of your prayer chaplains here. I'm not one of your prayer chaplains. I'm one of your board of director members. The chaplains will be coming up. Thank you, thank you. He's next. I'm on your board of directors, and I'm here to welcome you today to our Sunday service, those of you who are here right with us, and those of you who are joining us online. It is so lovely to be together. I want to let you know that we do have seating available in the sanctuary, so you're welcome to sit right here in the beautiful sunshine in the gardens, or you can go into our sacred space inside and watch the services in there. You have a choice. I would like to remind you to please silence your cell phone wherever you might be. Please turn that off so we don't need to hear your ringtone later on, even though it's really cute. I would like to introduce our Craig Stephen Phillips, who is our representative from the ministry team. We are looking forward to your inspiration today. Thank you. And our musical guests today are Patty Amelot and Brenda Hunter, and you just heard their celestial music just now, so it's a delight to have you. I'll go through a couple of announcements here. We sent out our membership renewal reminder emails this week, and our bylaws require us to update our membership annually. So if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and do that. You can either hunt up the email, or we have forms over here so that you can renew your membership here. Board applications went out as well to all members. The deadline to submit your application is March 1st. I'm pretty sure there's about 10 or 12 of you who have them prepared and ready to turn in, so we'll graciously accept those. Let's see, what else? If you're considering running and you have any questions, please see me afterwards or any of the other board members, and we can fill you in on any of the details or what have you. The Unity of Houston online event that Zelda Benson is participating in to discuss the book, The Sum of Us, What Racism Costs Everyone, and How We Can Prosper Together, is today at 1:30. If you are interested in joining, the link can be found in this week's e-news and on the calendar on our website, and also on the Unity of Houston website. So if you want to join in on that, those are the ways that you can do that. Our garden cleanup is next Saturday, February 26th from 9 to 12. And I'm the head of the Sacred Grounds Ministry, and we do this every now and then. Julie is one of our wonderful, yep, exactly. So you're welcome to come and join, not for the whole time, just for an hour, however long you'd like to. It's really fun, and you find out interesting things. I was here yesterday working, and I heard some sort of bird, and I looked up. It was a hawk, and she's nesting here on campus. And so it's so cool. So you find out stuff like that, and you're welcome to come join us. It's really fun, and we might even have donuts. I don't know. Next week, Sunday, the 27th, is Family Sunday. This is going to be wonderful. Our youth and family ministry will actively participate in the service itself. There will be a fun party and reception taking place in the gardens afterwards. Please sign up with hospitality to bring fruit, a salad, or sandwiches to share. And also, if you know a family that is seeking more support, more inspiration, more tools for mindful living, more joy, more equanimity, then invite them to check out Unity of Tustin and our Youth and Family Life program, where we celebrate and honor the many expressions of family life and welcome everyone with love. And then finally, our last announcement here is the annual meeting. We're getting back on schedule with that, so do save the date. It's March 13th. It'll be here after the service in person or online. It's very important that we all attend. And we will be supplying more details in the coming weeks about that. So that is the annual meeting, March 13th. It's our biggest meeting of the year. And so that concludes our announcements. Thank you. And for Shirley the Presence, Tony? Well, I'll just sing it. I don't hear. Oh, wait. There we go. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Thank you, Connie. My name is John Claude Pinto, and I'm your prayer chaplain from here at Unity of Tustin. And as a prayer chaplain, I get the opportunity and the honor to light the Christ candle and to read the daily word. So we'll do that first. I'll light the Christ candle. And the reason we do that is to recognize that Christ consciousness in all of us. This is a shared unity, that we're not separate. And what do I do? Did I leave it there? Okay, I left it on the floor. Thank you. That's what happens when you try to be efficient. You take things long and then you forget it. Okay. Okay, the daily word today is inspiration. And the affirmation for the word of the day is, I'm grateful to those who inspire me. And the scripture text for today is from Genesis 2:7. Then the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. I admire and respect the sacred calling and the work of innovative and groundbreaking thinkers and leaders. The work they have done to forge new paths and lead humanity in new directions inspires me. I've heard inspiration described as the breath of God, an inner quickening. This quickening is mine as I forge new paths and boldly journey forward, creating my life anew. To keep divine inspiration flowing, I make time to rest in contemplative stillness. I begin each day with a prayer for a receptive mind and heart. I pray for courage and clarity to release my rigid expectations. I live in a state of gratitude for the inspiration that flows from God and the opportunity to share it. Now I'm going to read the affirmation, and the second time I do it, can you please say it with me? I'll say it the first time. I'm grateful to those who inspire me. I am grateful to those who inspire me. In oneness.
So let's close our eyes for a moment. And come to a prayer. Let's feel the breath for a moment flowing through an opening in our chest. Feel the breath as love this morning. Loving kindness and compassion. And breathe that into your heart. Feel a sense of gratitude for the gift of your breath, for being present here with this beautiful community. And we pray this morning to the source of this breath, the source of our life, the source of love, the source of everything and everyone that is present here in this eternal now moment. Help us to realize that only in this love can we truly find the fulfillment, the joy, the aliveness, the peace that we so long for in this world. And it is only in this love that we can be healed and that the world can be healed. Only love. And so it is. If you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes as we come to meditation. Coming to meditation is to come to the present moment, to this eternal now that we're sharing here together this morning. As we come to the now, just for this moment, allow your body to be as it is. Let your body relax into your chair. Let the body be very, very still for just this moment. And let's bring awareness as we relax to our listening. Let there be a little shift now from listening to the voice in your head to that voice that's chattering at you all the time. Many of you here believe that this is what you are. In meditation, we discover that we are something much more than the voice in our head. So let there be a little shift to just listening. Listening to the sounds of life arising around you, in the space around you. Listen very deeply, as if with every cell in your body, notice that these sounds are arising spontaneously to your awareness. You're not having to do anything to make these sounds arise, to make life happen here, including the sound of the plane going overhead now. It's all appearing to the awareness that you are. And as we listen deeply, bring awareness now to your breathing. Feel your breath moving through your nose, moving down into your body. Breathe open. Feel how good it feels to breathe, to be alive this morning. And as you breathe out, get a sense of letting go. Whatever you carried here this morning, whatever stress or problems from the week, whatever worries and fears that are going on in your life, are they happening right now? Just let go on the out breath. Fall into the space of the eternal now. Get a sense now that you have an opening in the middle of your chest. For those of you that feel comfortable, I invite you to put your right palm over the center of your chest, making contact with the heart. You can also use your fingers pointing back, touching the chest, even your hands in a prayer position with the back of your hands touching. But I like to use the right palm. Let your awareness begin to flow into the area of your heart for a moment. And again, get a sense that you have an opening in the middle of your chest and you can draw your breath into the heart. Feel again that the breath is infused with a great loving kindness for yourself. Like a clear light, breathe this loving kindness into the heart. For you, just as you are, nothing to fix or change. As you breathe out, feel that loving kindness flowing through your entire body into every cell from your heart. And now get a sense that your breath is infused with a great compassion. Breathe compassion into your heart for you, for yourself. You know, as I always say, compassion for me is the knowing that I'm doing the best that I can, given my level of awareness right now. Breathe that kind of compassion into your heart this morning. And finally, feel that the breath is infused with a great joy. And breathe joy into your heart. Uncaused joy. Joy for no reason other than you are here, breathing, and alive. And as we feel our heart now overflowing with loving kindness, compassion, and joy, get a sense on your out-breath that you can radiate this energy out through the field of your body, like you're the sun radiating this light. Radiate it first just 3 feet around you. I always say, for those of you that have a hard time visualizing, don't worry. Just intend this, feel this to be so. That's even more powerful. And this morning, let's radiate it out now a little further. Radiate this light out and into the hearts of every person that's here with you meditating. Get a sense of this light of loving kindness surrounding their bodies. And then as you breathe in, naturally, you can breathe the loving kindness, the compassion and joy from every heart here back into your own, even more powerfully. And then you have that to breathe out again. Begin to feel that we are all sitting together in a field of love, of Maitri. compassion, uncaused joy. And that this is truly the greatest gift that we can share and give each other through our meditation. And as we come to the end of this part of our meditation, let's listen to this poem from the spiritual teacher, Adyashanti. Listen deeply. What we see is not the most important. Could dust rise without the invisible hand of the wind? Could a fan turn without any current? Could lungs breathe without breath? Tell me, what is the shape of love? How much does joy weigh when held in the palm of your hand? Can you catch the spirit of life in a jar? All things seen depend upon the unseen. All sounds depend upon silence. All things felt depend upon what is not felt. Tell me, what is the shape of love? This is a beautiful question that Adya asks in this beautiful poem. Sit with it for a moment, like self-inquiry. What is love? Don't assume that you know. Look fresh and new in this moment. What is love for you? What is love without thinking about it? Is love present for you now? Look and see. Is love present for you now? If love is not present for you now, where will you find it? The great Zen question, if not now, when? If not here, where? Love is now or not at all. Many of us sitting here today in this beautiful garden, we have spent at least a little bit or some of our life searching for love. When we're younger, and of course this can be even as we get older, we have this mistaken belief that we're going to find love outside of us. usually in another person. This starts very young. Popular culture is conditioned to condition us through popular music, through movies. I'm sure some of you have watched the Hallmark Channel. I admit I've watched a few of those Christmas movies. You know the ones. You find the perfect person and you live happily ever after. I'm guessing that most of you know that that isn't exactly the way it works. As Eckhart Tolle, one of my teachers, has said, you go to a rom-com film and you see the two people meet and they go through their adventures and finally they get together and at the end, fade to black, love forevermore. He said they need to make a movie at what happens to these people 3 months later. Fade to light, and there they are. What do you mean you're drinking almond milk out of the carton? Oh my God. If I had known that about you 3 months ago, that would have been it. Adyashanti has said, go 5 years and they're in front of the divorce judge. I don't even know you anymore. I certainly don't love you anymore. Some of you have been through this. And yet, we're conditioned that if it doesn't work out that time, if we cannot procure or get love from someone to complete us, because isn't that what this search for love is all about? I'll find somebody who will complete me. I'll find somebody who will make my life worth living. I'll find my partner that I will journey through life with, and everything will be perfect. And if it doesn't happen the first time, it's bound to happen the second time or the third time. Sometimes you meet people who have 5 divorces. They're still learning. The wonderful thing about coming on the spiritual path is that all the great masters and teachers tell us, this love that you are, this love that you're sitting in, this love that you're looking for, cannot be found in another person. Your search is misplaced. You're looking in the wrong place. Turn your eyes around and look here in your own heart, just as we did during the meditation. The masters have told us the greatest love of the universe has been placed in your heart. Do you know it? Have you stopped looking for it in something or someone in the world? Or do you still have some hope that somebody will fulfill you? If they just do this, then I can be happy. If you've been in a relationship for a while, it becomes more of a barter system. If you just do this, then I can be happy. Or why don't you do this? Then I can be happy. We start criticizing our partners. This is true of our friends, by the way. We seem to think we know what is best for them. And if they just did that, the relationship would just be perfect. Has that ever worked for you? Most of you have been in relationships where your partner criticized you heavily. You're probably not with them anymore. So we have all kinds of notions about what love is, and this question that we brought today is very powerful, isn't it? What is love? If I asked each of you, probably you'll have a different answer in words. There's a little bit of a different flavor. And it can change from day to day, moment to moment. But often that which we think is not love at all. Love is universal. Love never changes. It doesn't come and go. It's always present. Late last year, for a couple of months, I went through a very deep contemplation about this question. What is love? I knew what peace was, for sure. I knew what bliss was. I knew what joy was, without a doubt. But I began to contemplate this question, what is love? I was clear it wasn't the words that I said about it or the definition I gave it, that it was much more vast and deep than I could have ever imagined. And after a couple of months of sitting in this question, of really being curious, what is love? Right around this time, I began to think about my old Zen master. And I hadn't seen him in 25 years. To be honest, so much had happened that I assumed that he had passed away, because he would have been a very old man. But for some reason, I was thinking about him more than ever on this particular day, because the truth is, I think of him periodically and what he gave me. Probably definitely one of the most profound teachers I've ever been around. And he spoke very little English. It wasn't about the words, right? It was about his presence. And so after driving home, I decided to do a little Google search. It's a whole story how I ended up finding that he was still alive. But he was alive. And I knew I had to go see him. I was drawn to go and see him again. So 3 days later, on a Monday, me and my beloved Fabienne were in the car and we're driving to the house that he lives in. And he lives in a house, and the temple is in the back of the house, very small. The temple is probably half the size of our sanctuary, if that. We went over unannounced, just like I had done 25 years earlier. I had read this article in the paper at that time about this happy monk that lived in Garden Grove. I called him a happy Buddha. I had just been initiated into Buddhism by the Dalai Lama, and I wanted a hands-on teacher, somebody that was closer. Wouldn't you know it? Within a day or two, there was an article that appeared in the LA Times on this Buddhist monk and his happiness and his joy, and it really appealed to me. I went right over. I can remember walking in, and this woman came out of the kitchen who was making some food for the monks, the few monks that lived there, and she said, "Can I help you?" I said, I'm here to see the happy Buddha. She said, "Wait a minute," and she went and got him. So we went over and pulled into the parking lot. There was one space there, and wouldn't you know it, a Thai, as we call the teacher in Vietnamese, Thai was standing in the doorway as if he was waiting for me, waiting for us. There was a lot of people here this day, relatively. So we got out of the car and we went in. He had moved into the kitchen, and a man came up to us and he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "I'm here to see the master." He said, "The master is right here." And Thai came shuffling out of the kitchen. And as he shuffled out, he looked at me and he started to hold his hands out to me. And as he was coming toward me, I said, "Thai, I'm so happy to see you. It's been 25 years. You were my teacher." He took hold of my hand so gently and he looked into my eyes and he said, "I'm so happy to see you." And he immediately turned to Fabienne and he went over and took her hands and, "I'm so happy to meet you." And then he motioned for us to come to the table by his desk. It's not a traditional living room. And he told us to sit, and he made us tea, which is a really great honor when a Zen master makes you tea. He gave us tea and he sat with us. As I said, there were people milling in and out this day because, as we were to find out, there was a memorial service for somebody who had passed away in the Vietnamese community. He sat across from us, and he let us know again that his English is not so good, but this time it was, "My mind is not so good." And he would laugh. He has this joyful laugh. It's not even a laugh, it's a bubbling brook that comes up in him and through his eyes. We made a little bit of small talk. We enjoyed our tea. People were coming from the memorial service. They would stop and pranam to him to pay their. He would say a few words in Vietnamese, and then he would come back to us. The amazing thing is that it never felt like he left us. He was so present with us while taking care of the community. Can you imagine? Towards the end of our little time together, he gave a little teaching for us. As the people were milling out, he let us know in his broken English that this was a memorial service and this person had gone to nirvana. But he said we should not wait. Nirvana can happen at any moment. He motioned to the world around him and he just shook his head as if to say, everything around us is moving so fast. Everything is impermanent, he said. This is why we must use our time to meditate. Meditate. Because all of this is quickly changing. And we're living in a world that is changing ever more quickly every day. Aren't we? The sanctuary is here. He gave us all of Buddhism in about 1 minute. The 3 major tenets. Just as a reminder. It was time for us to go. He had given us so much. I got up, we pranamed, and we decided to go back to the temple where I had meditated with him many years before. We walked through the gardens, there's statues there. I told some stories about him, and we walked into the temple. It had changed. In the old days, there was just a carpet laying down, and we would sit on the carpet. There was a statue of Amitabha Buddha, the cosmic Buddha that's unborn, whose major attribute is compassion. And I can remember sitting there, my mind went back as I walked in, because now there was pews, so the congregants could sit there from the community. My mind went back to the first time that I met Ty. He took me back to this temple that first day. We walked in, there was the same Buddha, and he motioned for me to sit down on the ground. And so I sat down cross-legged. He sat down across from me. He looked at me and he said, "Close your eyes." And he gave me one word. He said, "Breathe." Breathe. In that moment, some of you may have heard this word in Zen called transmission. It's hard to describe, but when you get it, you know it. There's an energy that is exchanged that is beyond words. In that moment, it was as if the walls of this little temple had fallen out, and there was just vast presence, space, awareness. The amazing thing is that he had just met me. He didn't know anything about me, that I had meditated for 20 years or any of that. He didn't care. And as I was sitting there, the feeling was he would have let me sit there for as long as I wanted. In fact, if I could still be there right now, he would be present with me across from me, holding the space. There was no rush. So finally, I opened my eyes in my own time, and his eyes were open looking at me. And as I looked at him, he pointed to my heart, and then he pointed to his heart, and he said, "My English is not so good, but here, you and I understand each other very well. Here." And so there we were, 25 years later, we were in front of Amitabha Buddha, and again, I turned my palms toward the statue, and the transmission had happened while we were in having tea with him. The walls blew out. There was a stillness that was just so deep, so rich. I was so grateful. Grateful now. So after a little time with Amitabha Buddha, we walked around the gardens a little bit, and then we left. But I didn't really leave, because what I received that day stayed with me almost every moment for days and then weeks. And what I want to share with you today it was the answer to the question that I had been contemplating. What is love? And what came to me, the realization that came so powerfully in every cell of my body, is that love is simply the allowing of other human beings to be exactly as they are. It is a spaciousness that allows every person that comes into your field to be exactly as they are. There's no compulsion to fix. There's no compulsion to change anyone. No compulsion to get your way with them. You completely are the space of allowing them to be as they are. We could use the word complete acceptance, but to me, this is even deeper. There's no criticism of anybody. And people that know this, that have been around you, know they can trust you. They can come and they can sit in your presence without worrying about being judged. They don't have to worry that you're going to suddenly try to give them some sage advice. Maybe you've done that. The friend comes, they're telling you something that's really heavy, and you're already thinking about what you're going to say. I know what you should do. It's amazing, isn't it, that we think we know what our friends should do or our family members when we haven't even got our own life figured out? This is what I saw in him and what came to fruition for me that day. It's a space of being where everybody is comfortable. It's like going to the shade of the tree over here. The tree doesn't say, no, not you today. You're unworthy. You're impure. You've got more meditation to do. This spaciousness, this presence welcomes everything and everyone into its presence. And by being in its presence, it transforms you. That's love. For me. For me. I ask everyone today, can you imagine living with this kind of spacious allowing with the people in your life? Go into your heart and see what that might feel like. The end of all criticism. The end of all drama. The end of all trying to change or fix anyone. Can you imagine that kind of love? And by the way, this love is not a doormat. It's very discerning. It knows how to say no. It knows when something's not right and it moves out of that situation. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking just about the ability to be with another human being without inflicting your ego on them. This thought that you know what's best for them. This allowing of love to be. In the same way that the space is allowing you to sit here today. Notice, the space doesn't say, no, not you today. There's no room for you. We're allowed to be. Can you imagine a love like that? Now, all of you may have a different notion of what love is. I just invite you today to open and maybe include what I'm saying to you. There's no doubt that we all have people in our life that we think we know what's best for them. And the reality is, we do not. We do not. Or I'll say it this way. That person that you think is a stray or that you want to criticize or you think you know what's best for them, they're actually exactly where they need to be. They're doing exactly what they need to do for their unfoldment, for their evolution. How do you know they're supposed to do that? Because they're doing it. It's already happening. Our criticisms change nothing. Our thought that we know what's best for them changed nothing. You know what we do? We push people away when we're that way. They don't feel they can trust us to just come and sit in our presence. Maybe breathe a little bit. How about that? Hey, I know you're going through a hard time. Why don't you sit with me right now and we'll have a few breaths together? Let's stop trying to figure all this out and we'll just be. Take a breath. Relax. Be in the present moment. This teaching of love is very, very powerful in Buddhism. You know, it's said that after the Buddha had his awakening under the Bodhi tree, he was formulating the way that he could teach what had happened to him or point the way so that we could also know that state of who we are naturally and easily. It's amazing, isn't it, that we go on this search for ourselves even though we're sitting here right now? But we do. The attempt to figure ourselves out, to find out who we are. So right after the Buddha woke up, wouldn't you know that 3 monks that he had wandered with for years came upon him and they could see that he was radiant. Something had happened to him. And so they sat down, and out of his compassion, he was thinking about just keeping it to himself and going off into the jungle, but he couldn't. He sat with them. He sat in stillness with them, and he began to formulate his teaching. But after a little while, this teaching got a little dry, it said. And mindfulness, just being with the breath, being present in this moment, got a little dry, a little maybe too intellectual at times. And so that's how he formulated the teachings of loving kindness. The teachings, by the way, that we did in our meditation today. It's the other side of the coin in Buddhist meditation. So what the Buddha found is that the depth of who we are is love. And that through cultivating loving kindness, we come into a love that he called immeasurable. Some of you have maybe had this experience in meditation. You go so deep. There is no end to the depth of who you are. You can never reach the end of that ocean. Thank goodness. Right? Because Adyashanti has said is, if you got to the end of this experience, your mind would then quantify it and say, well, that was nice, what's next? But it's endlessly deepening. It's endlessly fascinating. It's endlessly drawing us into itself, this love. The Buddha, as I said, called it immeasurable love. You cannot measure the depth of it. This love, if we look at it as a simple allowing others to be as they are, begins with ourself. Can we allow ourselves to be as we are right now? Just as you are, nothing to fix or change. You're not a project to be figured out. You're a being who is here and at ease, breathing. Can you imagine living that way? You've stopped trying to figure yourself out. There's an acceptance of who you are, your humanity. Allow yourself to be as you are. The Buddha said, until you can love yourself, you cannot love others. It's impossible. For a lot of you who are having a hard time finding love or getting love, you might want to look at how you feel about yourself. Once we have this kind of love inside, we tend to bring this love. We're like a magnet, like my Zen teacher and other teachers I've known. They radiate and people are drawn to them because it feels good to be around them, doesn't it? Maybe some of you have had this experience, being around a being you love being around. Not because of what they do to you or say to you or give you, because of their presence. Imagine the gift that is to humanity. That's what people felt around Jesus and other teachers. Well, we're here now. We can be that radiance. We are that radiance. We are that love, without doubt. The Buddha said that once this love is cultivated inside your heart, the second immeasurable arises naturally. There are 4 immeasurables that happen through loving kindness meditation. The first is love. The second that will arise naturally as you feel this love for yourself and radiate to others is you'll have a natural compassion for others. You'll have compassion for yourself. As I said during the meditation, each of you may have a different way of describing compassion. It was one of those that took me a really long time to come to. I didn't know what it meant. I thought it was sympathy or feeling sorry. That's not it. What came to me very deeply is that compassion is just this knowing, as I always say, I'm doing the best I can right now. It'd be my guess, no matter how hard many of you are on yourself, no matter how much your mind beats you up and says you're not good enough, or you need to do more, or you need to achieve more, or go and get more in the world, underneath all of that stuff in the mind, are you not doing the best you can right now? Please breathe this in. Acknowledge it to yourself today. I am doing the best that I can in a very challenging world. How does that feel to you today, to know that? Yes. Yes, I'm doing the best that I can. Take yourself off the hook. That's compassion, isn't it? For yourself. Then you can bring compassion to others. And here's why. If you're doing the best you can, look around. Every person here, you can know this. They're all doing the best they can. No matter how our mind may judge another human being, they're doing the best they can. In fact, compassion is the end of all those judgments about others. You won't be able to judge another human being harshly when you realize that they're doing the best they can. That's compassion. We have this tendency to think, again, as I go back to the beginning of the talk, that we know what's best for another human being. We don't. They're going through exactly what they need to go through for their own spiritual awakening. That's all that's going on here. It's just a big school of love. It's waking us up, isn't it? Sometimes really difficult challenges come to get our attention. For those of you that have told the universe that you want spiritual awakening, and you mean it, watch out. It's coming. The Tao will give you exactly what you want. And then you can say, well, wait a minute, turn the heat down a little bit. I need a little break. I need to breathe a little bit here. And then you can turn the heat back up. Because if freedom is what we want, we're willing to go through anything to have it, aren't we? This inner freedom that I'm pointing at. So out of this compassion, the third immeasurable comes naturally, joy. Isn't it true? When you have compassion for others and you know they're doing the best you can, you know you're doing the best you can, life starts to have this, what's called in Buddhism, uncaused joy. It's not joy because you get something. It's not joy because you get somebody to love you. It's not joy because things go the way you think they should. You might get a little temporary pleasure from that. It won't last. It's what Ty told us that day. It's all impermanent. You keep looking for your happiness in the things that are vanishing in front of your eyes, don't we? When you begin to live with this kind of depth, this kind of love and compassion, this joy arises just at the breath you're taking now, alive, here, present. And you begin to feel this joy for other human beings. It is said that this kind of joy delights in the success of another human being. If they're joyful, for whatever reason, they got the job they wanted, they got the relationship they wanted. Oh, it's like it happened to you. Oh, I'm so happy. Can you imagine? Your friend comes and tells you, oh, I got that job. You say, oh my God, you feel like you got the job. Imagine that. Out of the third immeasurable comes the fourth immeasurable, which is equanimity. The ability to navigate life evenly, smoothly, balanced. Not pushed and pulled here and there. I like this, I don't like that. That's good, that's bad. You feel like you're like this. Equanimity is right in the middle way. Everything is giving you something and you breathe it in. at ease. Love, compassion, joy, equanimity, which has a quality of gentleness. It moves very, very gently and smoothly, like this plane flying through the air over here, reaching its destination easily. So we might take this with us. We might practice a little bit of what this feels like to us to try on love that is so spacious, it allows everybody to be as they are. And we start with ourselves. Breathe that in. Feel the ease of your own being. Feel how easy it is in this present moment being here together today. Relax into that. Nothing serious is going on here. When we allow ourselves that kind of love, then the world becomes saturated with love. Everybody we meet is an expression of that one love. As we come to this, let's close the eyes for just a moment as we finish with a little bit of meditation. And as we come to this again, we might bring the wordless. What is love? And breathe open to that. Listen to the plane with ears of love. Feel the breath as love. Feel the breeze on your skin as love. Feel your body as love. Allowing everything to be as it is. Let's finish with these words from David Dieta, great Buddhist teacher. Listen deeply. Right now, and in every now moment, you are either closing or opening. You are either stressfully waiting for something, more money, security, affection, or you are living from your deep heart, opening as the entire moment, and giving what you most deeply desire to give without waiting. If you are waiting for anything in order to live and love without holding back, then you suffer. Every moment is the most important moment of your life. No future time is better than now to let down your guard and love.
Thank you, Craig. That beautiful teaching on love, drawing us into our hearts. And from that heart space now, we'd like to welcome anyone who might be here for the very first time today. Whoever you are and wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. If there's anyone who didn't receive a flower or a welcome packet as you arrived today and are here for the first time, would you please raise your hand so that our ushers might draw one to you now? Bring one to you now. And those of you who are here, yeah, keep your hands raised so they can find you. And we welcome you. All of you who are here, I know there are several of you here today that are new. Inside that welcome packet, you'll find a name tag, and if you'll place that on, that'll help us identify with you afterwards. And also inside your welcome packet, there's an information card, and if you'll fill that out and turn it into one of the ushers after the service, that will enable us to stay in contact with you, to share some information with you, and also one of our ministers, Reverend Shara Moshinska, will also reach out to you individually. If any of you are with us for the very first time today online, if you'll send an email to unity@unitytustin.org, we'd be happy to send you some welcome information as well. And so now, let's take the time to gather our tithes and our love offerings. And today, as we hold our tithes and our love offerings in our hearts, take a moment, I invite you to take a moment and dedicate your gift today to the unfolding awareness of that deep love, that immeasurable love that Craig spoke to us about today to us. Because as we dedicate our tithes and our love offerings, as we infuse them with that energy, then we invite that more fully into our lives, individually and collectively. And so now as we hold our tithes and our love offerings, let's say together the love offering blessing. Together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And as our ushers come forward to gather those tithes and those love offerings, Brenda and Patty have another musical gift to share. Thank you so much, Patty and Brenda. What a gift, a beautiful gift that you shared your music with us today. And so thank you so much. And now let's take a moment to bless these tithes and these love offerings that we have received. Blessed Oneness, we are in deep gratitude in our hearts for these tithes and these love offerings, for the intention from which they were given. And so we ask that those intentions and gifts be blessed so that we might best know how to use these gifts in our community and beyond. And so it is. Amen. I invite you to join us after the service today for hospitality. And also you might want to take a little pop into the bookstore. We're going to have our monthly drum circle. It's going to be over here at Site 8 in the garden at 1 o'clock. If you are in need of prayer, our prayer chaplains will be at the entrance to the meditation gardens. They'll have on a white ribbon, and they'd be happy to spend time with you holding anything in your heart in prayer. And also, just a friendly reminder, those of you who might be interested in joining our prayer chaplain ministry, there's going to be an orientation session next Sunday, the 27th, immediately after the service in the sanctuary, to share information about that. One other quick announcement. We've been playing a little bit of musical chairs with our chairs after the service. Today we ask those of you who wish, only if you wish, to help us stack the chairs, if you could do so this time over here to the side on the edge of the grass so that the rest of us can enjoy time together on the patio for hospitality without bumping into one another. So we thank you for that. And now, as we begin to draw our service to a close, let's all together say Unity's prayer for protection. Together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go forth into your week in that immeasurable love, and God bless you.